Now, in that meeting, the complaints by pop crew members and Paul O'Sullivan are referenced. The allegations are the following: irregularity relating to procurement at the forensic division and the oversupply of equipment, centralization of delivery equipment, defective equipment supplied, questions about delivery of equipment by the same service provider to provinces, corrupt relationship with the service provider, inappropriate social relationship with the service provider, and members raising concerns relating to the above were removed from their general post by General Phahlane. And over the page, IPID received the complaint on the 25th of February 2016, and General Phahlane was informed about the complaint in writing on the 18th of March 2016 by the then acting head of IPID, and was acknowledged by General Phahlane on the 9th of May 2016. There was seemingly no investigation or movement relating to the investigation during the period whilst Mr. Kamanyani was acting as the executive director. The complainants approached the executive director and raised concerns about the lack of progress made on the investigation. The executive director then appointed a team led by Mr. Mandla Mashlangu to investigate the allegation on 1 November 2016. Upon the establishment of the team, witnesses were identified and interviewed and statements obtained. Just to interpose, and hopefully we can agree on this, General Phahlane, maybe for the first time today, just to provide context. At the time when the complaint was lodged, Robert McBride had been placed on suspension, and Mr. Kamanyani was appointed as acting executive director. When Mr. McBride returned, this complaint that was lodged was then revised or revisited, sorry. So just to continue, soon after the investigating team started the investigation, the investigating officer, the complainant, as well as the executive director, started receiving death threats by means of text messages. The investigation established that on the first threat, the phone used to send text messages was linked to a police officer based at OR Tambo. The investigation also established that the second threat was made from a phone that received reception from 3G SAPS Intel tower. When General Phahlane became aware of IPID's approach to witnesses, he contacted witnesses and instructed the witnesses not to cooperate with the IPID investigators. IPID then opened a defeating the ends of justice case in November 2016 as the Camel Drift case. General Phahlane then made public statements on several media platforms that he's going to establish a team to ostensibly investigate security breaches. Instead of approaching SAPS protection services for the alleged security breaches, General Phahlane appoints a team from Northwest under General Mabula to investigate the so-called security breach. The team he appointed is a team that is under investigation by IPID for various offences, including murder, torture, assault, defeating the ends of justice. The DPP has already decided to prosecute them on the torture cases dating back to 2010, and warrants of arrest were issued. IPID is awaiting the DPP decision on the centralization of the above matters. Mr. Paul O'Sullivan and his assistant, Ms. Jane Trent, were charged for, amongst other charges, impersonating an IPID investigator in terms of the IPID Act. The Mabula team then started interfering with IPID investigations by interviewing IPID witnesses which had already deposed statements to IPID relating to the General Phahlane investigation. The Mabula team also unlawfully arrested one of the complainants, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. Advocate Mashuga issued the warrant of arrest. The Mabula team obtained a search warrant against the complainant, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. The investigating officer, Brigadier Nkube, in the application for the search warrant indicated that the threats from Mr. Paul O'Sullivan started on 12 February 2016. However, the case of intimidation and other charges was only opened in January 2017. It would appear that there was never a concern about the threats or the IPID investigation on General Phahlane until the executive director appointed the IPID investigating team and the investigation against General Phahlane started in earnest. General Phahlane instituted civil action against IPID and the magistrate who issued a search warrant, not seizure, to General Phahlane's property. The civil action is at state expense. General Phahlane unlawfully obtained Section 205 applications by IPID from the Magistrates Court file, which was not related to the search and to which he was not entitled. It is a shocking abuse of power that General Phahlane now has access to the IPID investigative information and would compromise the investigation, as the details of those subpoenaed in terms of Section 205 of the Criminal Procedure Act is now known to him. It is possible, just as IPID members have received death threats, that these witnesses may be intimidated or have their lives threatened to ensure that they do not cooperate with the IPID investigation. The Mabula team charged IPID investigators, Mr. Mandla Mashlangu and Tamani Binang, on charges related to the investigation of General Phahlane. We have since learned that they have now opened money. We have received information from reliable sources that the Mabula team is now actively involved in countering investigations against them related to the murder and torture cases. And we have since opened another defeating the ends of justice case at Pretoria Central. IPID views this interference with his investigation by General Phahlane and General Mabula's team as detrimental to IPID's independence and offends the legislature's objective about IPID Act provided for in Section 2 of that Act. Any investigation by any member of the SAPS against IPID investigators, because they are being investigated by IPID, defeats the whole purpose of the independent oversight of SAPS as provided for in Section 206 of the Constitution, confirmed in the Constitutional Court judgment, and is a clear conflict of interest. Officers who are subject of IPID investigation should be allowed to investigate IPID as they are conflicted. The actions of General Phahlane and General Mabula's team are in conflict with the stated intention of Parliament and the legislature in creating IPID. This conduct is criminal and undermines Parliament. The will of the people of South Africa as represented by Parliament is also undermined. IPID has instructed its legal team to issue letters of demand to General Phahlane and General Mabula to desist from interfering with the IPID investigation. Failure to comply will result in IPID approaching the High Court to interdict them. And in due course, I'll get to that case that was brought in the High Court, and a judgment was handed down. We have written to the NDPP raising concern about the summons against our investigators on charges related to the investigation of General Phahlane and perceived collusion by some prosecutors in assisting the Mabula team to interfere with the IPID investigation. IPID is convinced that it will be in the interest of justice for General Phahlane to be suspended or put on special leave to allow IPID to continue with the investigation without any interference. Amendment to the IPID Act must also address this issue to discourage any future interference. This is the annexure which you fairly, General Phahlane, has attached to your affidavit and your response.
I must now respond to what you were reading. Okay. Must I respond? My response, if I'm allowed to, is well captured in the documents, in the minutes of Parliament, JKP 23, dated 16 May 2017. Because that is the day that we were in Parliament and that presentation was made. And that response is well traversed here. But I will go and politely read some of the issues that I'm referring to in respect of JKP 23. And I'm going back page 58, paragraph 129. I'm trying to make it easy so that I just capture the facts. 129, the following day, 11 May 2017, Mr. Francois Beekman, chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, addressed a response to my letter of apology to attend a meeting of 16 May 2017. The letter is annexed here to SJKP 21. Upon receipt of the said letter, I rearranged my trip and duly attended. On 16 May 2017, I went to the meeting prepared and armed with a comprehensive presentation that will give a detailed account of the very same allegations presented by McBride. I annexed here to marked JKP 22, a copy of the presentation that was made to the Portfolio Committee in the presence of McBride. My appearance before the Committee on Police was to respond to the same allegations made by Robert McBride during his previous appearance on 4 May 2017, where I was not present. Robert McBride alleged that it was unprecedented for him to have been called to the committee to account on investigations against me in my presence while he was the initiator, the author, and the narrator of the script. I say so in my affidavit. It was during the said meeting that I characterized IPIT as a captured state institution by Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. I opined that it was O'Sullivan Police Investigative Directorate, OPIT. I annexed here to marked JKP 23, a copy of the transcribed deliberations recorded by PMG, a service provider rendering recording services in Parliament. I annexed here to mark JKP 24, a copy of the minutes taken by a committee officer of the Portfolio Committee. It is here where I pause and take the nation into confidence on Robert McBride's war waged against me, his well-orchestrated campaign through the media, with Paul O'Sullivan on various platforms under the pretext of fighting corruption, systematic corruption, and maladministration. It is apt that I deal with the overview of the allegations made against me, and when necessary, I will annex relevant document to substantiate my submissions. 134. Robert McBride must indeed be credited with having learned exceptionally well from his masters and handlers in unleashing a propaganda machinery on a target and in being relentless in his efforts to cause harm and reputational damage to those in his sides. The stratcom that was waged against the struggle seems to be what he admired, and he did not let an opportunity to pass without him applying such to his benefit. I salute Robert McBride in this regard, this despite the pain and hate directed at my person and the character assassination I endured. I had never met Mr. McBride in person until Saturday around midday during April-May 2016. Like you said, SC, April-May 2016, when you say he was on suspension, it is true, but he was under suspension from his post as executive director of IPID. When I was surprised by his presence outside my house in Sable Hills, the very famous McBride O'Sullivan playing field, I was with a fellow resident, Mr. Johan Smith, may his soul rest in peace, who visited me to discuss matters related to the Homeowners Association. When I walked him out, he mentioned a person he was expecting who happened to be Robert McBride. It was here where Robert McBride came out of the driving seat of a white E200 Mercedes-Benz vehicle in which he was driving with a female passenger. We exchanged greetings. Mr. Smith allowed us space to briefly engage without any interference. At the time of this unexpected meeting, the media was running articles and stories by Pop Crew and O'Sullivan's allegations of corruption leveled against me. You will have noted as part of the records that twice on the 30th of June 2017, the late Judge Monama ruled in my favor on a civil litigation against the very same Pop Crew members. Recently, on the 5th of November 2025, the full bench ruled in my favor on that particular litigation. And it was found that the allegations made against me were baseless, and thus they are to pay me costs, and they are to retract the allegations that were being made and tender an apology. So these are the same people that I'm being told they are witnesses in McBride's pursuit against me. Or Sullivan, for that matter. There is not a single case docket. Of all these concocted dockets, there is not a single docket which contains an affidavit by Paul O'Sullivan. Not a single one. Now, we talk here about the period with Khamanyane, when he lodged that complaint. I know it's a thick thing. Those who understand law will realize that this person was just going to town about everything else. If you accuse me, come directly. Let there be the elements of crime in that particular affidavit. I don't know what elements of crime we were able to find. But Khamanyane appointed a team of investigators to investigate that particular allegation. Even if there was nothing direct on me, they went to O'Sullivan. Brigadier Khomo, who came back to the police, was one of the investigating officers. I think there was a Mr. Maema or Marema, but there were 3 people who were investigating. They went to O'Sullivan and say, in view of this newspaper, which you say it's an affidavit that you have, can you depose a sworn affidavit so that we can investigate properly? To date, that was not done. On the day that McBride came back to he called those investigating officers, they were in KZN. He called them back to office. When they arrived, the morning, by the way, I've got records there of from the section 70. He had received a call and a WhatsApp from Sarah Jane Trent, who is an assistant or whatever of Paul O'Sullivan, who's asking him, McBride, where are you? And he say, I'm on my way to the office. This lady said to McBride, I'm on my way to bring a Phahlane dossier. This is McBride, who was on suspension, that came to my office. First day he rocks up in office, he gets from O'Sullivan the so-called dossier. The same afternoon, when those guys came back from Durban, he removed them from the investigation. He took the docket. That was the birth of the Phahlane task team. So, in paragraph 137, during this brief engagement, Robert McBride told me he was aware I was under attack from people who did not want me to be in the position as I was in and the work I was doing. He mentioned that those people did not want us. Now we now happen to be in the same bracket. They do not want us good people, and they will do everything in their power to fight us. He further mentioned that they were using the media to attack and that we should be careful. McBride said, I should be careful of the Minister of Police, referring to Minister Nathi Nhleko, and the former head of the Hawks, Major General Ntlemeza, who were allegedly behind the attack on us. Robert McBride offered assistance and said we should work together in dealing with these people. Who are these people? I must work with him to deal with the minister and deal with Ntlemeza, who were trying to get us destroyed and replaced by people of their own. He also offered to work with his contacts in the media because media people wielded power. I listened attentively, we exchanged cell phone numbers and agreed to keep in contact as and when the need arose. My response to McBride was that there was nothing to worry about with the allegations made in the media, considering I had done nothing wrong. I indicated to McBride that it was important for the allegations made against me to be thoroughly investigated for the truth to be revealed. Robert McBride and I parted, and he followed Mr. Johan Smith to honor their engagement. I was left in disbelief and shock. I have never shared this conversation with anyone other than my wife. That's what happened on that particular day. So, on the 5th of June, my wife and I were attacked by 3 gun-wielding men while at a spa in Duncanville, Johannesburg. I remain grateful to the Almighty that we survived the attack, even though we sustained some injuries during the unfortunate incident. Following the attack on 5th June at about 1934, the first person who called me was Robert McBride. Robert McBride sent me a text message via WhatsApp which read, just heard, sorry about that, let me know if you need help. Offer still stands. Which offer still stands? I responded at 19:30 to his message as follows, noted with appreciation, kind regards. That's where I left it. I was taken aback months later in 2017 when I found out that it was Robert McBride who obtained a copy of the CCTV camera footage and recordings of the attack, forwarded it to Paul O'Sullivan's assistant Sarah Jane Trent and Peter Louis Mayberg, who circulated such via YouTube with distorted reporting to the media. Robert McBride returned to office as the executive director in Independent Investigative Directorate from suspension on the 18th of October 2016. So I'm going through this so that I properly respond to what you are reading, SC, because these issues are traversed. I'm not under trial on what McBride is saying. He must come and say, I am putting my version, which is important that it be communicated and not be brushed aside. The attacks directed at me by Robert McBride and O'Sullivan and their sustained campaign through the media, both print and electronic, bears testimony to their control of individual journalists whom they weaponized against me. A propaganda machinery unleashed by McBride and O'Sullivan was spearheaded by a select group of journalists, whom I know, by the way, and I'll name them here if need be. Marian Tem is one of those people. Who was this? The late Karima Brown? She's one of those people. Abraham Mashiro is one of those people. Barry Bateman is one of those people. There is a whole list of people that in one of the WhatsApps, actually, you have here the WhatsApp exchanges between Sarajin Trent and the late Mandla Mahlangu, who was the investigating officer. Even Karen Vaughan is here. So you have got a whole range of people that were working on the Phahlane project.
Were you done on the part that you were reading?
I'm not done, Chair, but I think I must respect the committee's time because he decided to go and read Robert McBride's allegations, and these are properly responded to. If I was here to be taken through my affidavit, these issues would have been traversed. So I'm going to pause. I can deal with some of these things when we come back.
Okay.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, SC. I'm going to make it short. It depends on you, because I'm just going to focus on providing facts. If we discuss, it's another story. I was on page 62 of my affidavit. I spoke about, Chair, I mentioned some journalists. These are not the only ones. I'll have an opportunity to talk about some of them. I'll check if whether some of those faces are in this room. Those journalists involved are known from the recordings of conversations secured following approval by a designated judge in compliance with South Africa's regulation of interception of communication and provision of communication-related Act of 2002. In other words, following the investigation that was conducted by General Mabula, because of the threats directed at me and everything, an application was made to the designated judge to monitor specific conversations that or specific numbers that were of interest. And this is where, unfortunately, where some of these journalists were flying in and out. Graham Hoskins is one of them, I know. During the afternoon of Monday, 14 May 2016, I received a telephone call from Mr. 62, I'm on page 62, Mr. Frectere Blanche, the building contractor, who informed me that he was approached by people who told him that they were conducting an investigation on the building of my house in Sable Hills. He indicated that 4 people, a white male, a white female, and 2 African males had approached him at the crèche in Sinoville where his wife was rendering services. The leader of the 4 identified himself as Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, who led the interview and questions in relation to the construction of my house. He told me that he became uncomfortable after realizing that it was a private person called Paul O'Sullivan who claimed to be conducting an investigation. I'm getting feedback. Is something wrong with my... Yeah.
Is there feedback? Can we check if all the microphones are off?
Always been here. Okay, maybe.
We don't suspect that there could be anybody interfering with your presentation. We don't have those suspicions.
Thank you, Chair. May I proceed? The leader of the as a result, he called me to inform me and inquire whether it will be correct for him to disclose any information to private persons purporting to be conducting investigations. I cautioned him against providing any information relating to the building of my house to anyone who is not duly authorized by law to conduct investigations and receive my information without the required authority. I also received a telephone call from my driver, Captain Alvin Dupree, informing me that he had received a call from Freck with the same concerns directed at me. Mr. Tereblanche called me again on Wednesday, 16 November 2016, during the morning, informing me that the same people were back at his place in Sinoville and that he had chased them away. Later that afternoon at 17:23, he forwarded a text message which he received from O'Sullivan's assistant, Sergeant Trent, via SMS, and that read as follows: Dear Sir, IPIT investigation. By the way, Sergeant Trent works for O'Sullivan, is his assistant, but he's sending this message. I confirm that the case number CCN 20160-30085, a meeting is arranged for 11 o'clock on Friday at IPIT offices, City Forum Building 114, Madiba Street, Pretoria, nearest corner Schubert Street. We have confirmed that your status is not a suspect. You are, of course, welcome to bring an attorney with you, if you like. We look forward to seeing you then. Regards, Sarah Jane. This is clear violation of the IPIT Act, as a private individual cannot be involved in the investigation. This also ravishes the statement by Paul O'Sullivan denying any involvement by him or Sergeant Trent in IPIT investigations. It was after the telephone call from Freck Tereblanche on the morning of Wednesday, 16 November 2016, that I called Mr. Chris Yoste, the estate manager at Sable Hills, to establish whether any person could be allowed access to my house without my permission or making contact with me. This inquiry to Mr. Yoste was informed by my conversation with Mr. Tereblanche, who indicated that Paul O'Sullivan and his entourage were at the estate and had obtained his contact details from the security manager, Frecky. Mr. Yoste responded later on at 13:24 on 16 November to my inquiry via text message, which read as follows: General, 4 people arrived at the service gate from IPIT. He wrote in his IDP, that's why in brackets there I've got IPIT, as per business card, and said they were doing an investigation and that it was confidential. They inquired about the builder of your house. It was mentioned that it was Freck, and Frecky gave them Freck's number. That's how they got to the builder of my house. We were told that they wanted to see the drawings of your house, which were shown to them. After this, they phoned Freck and then left to meet with him. This text message was forwarded with a copy of a business card of Mandla Gaiza Mahlangu. May his soul rest in peace. He's late. He was one of those IPIT Phahlane task team investigators from IPIT, as well as a picture of a white sedan, a Ford Kuga, with registration numbers. There they are, owned by Paul O'Sullivan, which include which vehicle the 4 people were driving in. I was in Limpopo attending a strategic session with members of the National Management Forum since Tuesday, 15 November at the time, 26 at the time. I had shared these developments and information with the then Divisional Commissioner of Detectives, Lieutenant General Kotsi Nkomo, and the former Acting Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, Major General Mahele, for further processing within the scope of their work. On 16 November 2016, at 17:35, I forwarded a copy of Mahlangu's business card and a picture of the Ford sedan motor vehicle as received from Jooste to McBride's cell phone with a message that reads, "Good afternoon, sir. Trusting that you are well, it is noted with concern that the IPIT investigators are accompanied by the person who lodged the complaint to gather and interview witnesses. Once again, a Mr. Paul was trying to get to the builder of my house. And then in the message I asked, ethical investigation is encouraged in this regard." He never responded to that message. That was McBride. While at the strategic session, a colleague of mine, Lieutenant General Hlongwane, conveyed the message that the former Major General Sibiya, who used to be working for the DPCI, the now Deputy National Commissioner, requested to meet with me and Mr. Robert McBride privately upon my return to Pretoria. I was persuaded, and the meeting took place in Centurion at Liriba Lodge on Friday, 18 November 2016, upon my return from the strategic session. It was during this meeting that I once again urged McBride to ensure that a thorough investigation must be conducted on allegations against me. I further cautioned him about the involvement of Paul O'Sullivan in the investigation. I made it clear during this meeting that I did not need any favors relating to the allegations made by Paul O'Sullivan. On Tuesday, 22 November 2016, in the afternoon, I received a call from Mr. Cedric Nkabinde, an investigator from IPIT, who informed me that he was investigating a defeating the ends of justice case against me. The case number is there, Camille Drift, subs case 123 of 11/2016. The purpose of his call was to secure an appointment with me for a warning statement. I referred him to my office and informed my secretary that I had agreed to meet with him on Thursday, 23 November 2016 at about 1400 at IPIT offices. This appointment was rescheduled to a later date because of more important matters which required my attendance. Thus, the meeting did not take place. On Thursday, 23 November 2016, in the morning, I actually was leaving the gym that morning. Peter Louis Mayberg sent me a text message which read, "Hi, General. This is Peter Louis Mayberg from News 24. I was hoping to get your comment on the IPIT matter. I understand you have been asked to make a warning statement. Thanks." Around 9, the story was breaking news on News 24 and the national media. Despite the rescheduled meeting, because I was not going to be able to attend that afternoon meeting of the 23rd, which was already scheduled, because they were already gathered at the IPIT offices, the media. The media covered a story headlined, "Phahlane no show at IPIT." I should also mention that without obtaining my warning statement, the case docket was processed to the National Prosecuting Authority for a decision premised on the lack of evidence. The NPA declined to prosecute. Another case, Sinoville case 146 of 5/2017. Now, this is important because this case, you will know that it was opened in May 2017. That is precisely after my appearance in Parliament to that meeting where this presentation was made by Robert McBride and IPIT. Now, why is this of significance? Somewhere we are being accused of counter-investigation. There was never a case before the case which now appears somewhere, Camille Drift case 12 of 1/2016 or 2017, the one that General Mabula and them was investigating. So even when you go back to page 150, that paragraph, page 66, paragraph 150, what defeating the ends of justice was being investigated, because there was no case. O'Sullivan had deposed a newspaper to IPIT. I'm on 167, just above 152. Both Robert McBride and Paul O'Sullivan continue to peddle lies and disinformation that the vehicles were purchased for my benefit and usage by family from a supplier of service to the subs, Mr. Duran Snyman and his dealership, who has never rendered any services to the police. So, amongst others, I was accused to have 7 cars. Now, what they were doing, they went to obtain the records from the institutions funding who financed my vehicles. If I buy, I will, for example, have had a C-Class Mercedes-Benz, and then I go and sell it and buy an E-Class. To them, on their list, I've got 2 cars, a C-Class and an E-Class. I had the Land Rover Discovery 3, I buy a Discovery 4, I've got 2 cars. I sell Navara Baki, I buy an Amarok, I've got six cars. Now, the car that they were mainly looking for, today, maybe when they appear here, they will produce it. It's a BMW i8. That is the car that was used, that I used that weekend when I was attacked in Duncanveld. It is a car that belonged to BMW South Africa. BMW South Africa, because the police buy vehicles and so on, from time to time, they bring cars to test drive so that they are being given feedback. So first, I was called by supply chain management. They wanted me to test drive an i3, one of those electronic BMWs, and I just did not have time. So it went back without me seeing it. Then they called and said, now there is an i8. I said, I'm busy.
I think you have given them enough advert. You can just say they called and promised a new vehicle. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Reality. But anyway, the car came. I drove it.
No, Chair, I was not interrupting. I wanted the General to conclude. I wanted to do a follow-up on this system of sponsoring from VW. Is there an internal mechanism for declaration of such sponsors so that no one is easily accused of having been given handouts somewhere or nicotimously? Is there an internal system? Here in Parliament, we even declare a power bank that so-and-so gave me a power bank for this reason. So do you have those, or did they have at that particular time, those internal mechanisms for declarations of such sponsors? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. While this particular car was not a sponsor, it was, what they do, they will bring occasionally a vehicle, and it's not only this particular brand that I'm talking of, for test driving and so on, and those vehicles are returned. So, for example, I only drove that car, I think it was the Saturday and the Sunday. A Monday, when I went back to work, my driver took the car to them. So, while it is so that there is a mechanism for declaring even sponsorship and gifts, this one will not have fallen into that category. And the other cars that I'm referring to, your Amarok, VW, and so, those are my personal cars that were bought. But to create this narrative of corruption and so on, they will say he has got 6 cars. And of course, if I'm to have 6 cars at the go, such high-end vehicles, you need to ask, where did the money come from to buy those? Unfortunately, in this case, if you go, they retrieve even the finances from the bank. You know, what is it? And we are entitled to a vehicle finance scheme. They retrieve the statements. One of the vehicles, at least 2 or 3 of them, actually, the payment of those vehicles was being deducted on a monthly basis from my salary, because I had what we call stop order. So the bank will pay the dealership directly.
Honorable Malam.
No, General, you're talking about trading in. You trade in this car and then you use that money of trade in to buy another one. So they will now say you've got two cars. Instead of saying you have traded in the other one, use that money to buy another one. Is that my understanding correct?
Your understanding is correct, Honorable Member. So on the even if they see that this car was sold or traded in, and I buy this one, on their records they say he has got two, for example, Mercedes Benzes, 2 Land Rovers, and 2 Buckies. I don't have capacity for such. So, Nkabinde, I spoke about Nkabinde and the case, Sinoville case 146/5, which is the one relating to cars. Now, when they did not find any of those cars, inverted commas, corruptly obtained, the Mr. Duran's name and that they are referring to is a dealer who has got no contract, no relationship with the police. Me and him were establishing a relationship. In actual fact, he wanted me to be doing business with him. I said, I can't. I can't be doing business now because I'm still employed. Now, at the same time, there were community projects that we were doing. Our sponsor, for example, food parcels. There's even a house I built for Emuruti somewhere there in Komhlanga. And him hearing what I'm doing, he said, how can I contribute? So there were 2 cars, a Toyota Hilux, a Legend, and a Polo. Basically, those cars were not even sponsorships to me. They were sponsorship to the social, what do you call, for that social. But because I am taking responsibility, I'm to be funding the maintenance and fuel and even insure the cars when they are used. The agreement was for 18 months. And after 18 months, those vehicles went back to him and he disposed them. So those were the cars that I was dragged to court, myself, him, as well as my wife. And after 2-3 appearances, that case was struck off the roll. Having considered the allegations of Mr. McBride, I can state without any fear of contradiction that he has been less candid. Robert McBride is grandstanding, abusing his powers, including taking advantage of his position by deliberately withholding information or evidence that ought to have been placed before the authorities and in the public domain. That's exactly what I'm referring to. This information, they already had in their possession. He is using platforms created for our people to cleanse corruption in state institutions to the benefit of his self-serving gains. On 153 of my affidavit, a letter by IP dated 18 March 2016 signed by Khamayani in his capacity as the acting director was received by my office at the time I was the acting National Commissioner of Police. The letter stated, IP received a complaint from Paul O'Sullivan regarding allegations of tender irregularities and irregular appointments. Paragraph 3 states, you are requested to arrange a suitable date for investigators to meet with you to discuss these allegations. For ease of reference, I annex that as JKP 25 and JKP 26 for copies of the letters referred to in that paragraph. This letter addressed to me in my capacity as the acting National Commissioner of Subs indeed informed me about the complaint in writing. However, it did not disclose who the subject of the investigation was. Upon receipt of the letter, 9 May, I instructed my personal assistant to schedule a date for the requested meeting with IPIT. An impression was created by McBride that counter investigations were embarked upon, and there was no threat conducted that necessitated the appointment of a team to investigate any alleged unlawful activities detected through a threat assessment. McBride continued to attack my integrity and character, amongst others with the distortion of facts well known to him that I did not appoint a team from the Northwest to conduct the investigation against his ally, Paul O'Sullivan and Sarah Jane Trent. Chair, in this affidavit, I think you'll find JKP 28. That's General Mabula's affidavit. This is the affidavit that served before Judge Zondo, where he was testifying in this regard. And I'll refer to paragraph 8 of that annexure, if maybe you assist where in the bundle it is, but it's JKP 28. General Mabula in his affidavit saying, during November 2016, as a result of suspicious conduct of Ms. Trent and Mr. O'Sullivan at a residential complex, Sable Hills, where Lieutenant General Phahlane, the then acting National Commissioner, resided, Division Crime Intelligence compiled a security threat assessment pertaining to the security threat against the security of Phahlane. As a result of the threat assessment, the then acting Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence, Major General Machele, communicated that, do we have a page? 509. This JKP 28 is on page 509. Communicated with Lieutenant General Motsunyane in a capacity as the Northwest Provincial Commissioner to provide intelligence, crime intelligence with the capacity to investigate the security threat against Phahlane. This is important. Crime intelligence are not doing investigations. Their task is to gather investigations. It is for this reason that General Machele approached the Provincial Commissioner of Northwest for a team of detectives to conduct an investigation. Mabula continues, I was nominated by Motswenyane to communicate with crime intelligence and was from then on the lead investigator. The investigation was conducted under the auspices of the acting Divisional Commissioner, Crime Intelligence. I therefore state that my appointment to the investigation was lawful and rational. It was brought about by the unlawful conduct of individuals such as O'Sullivan and Trent, and I refer to hereafter. Council read in that presentation of IPIT about the Mabula team. One of the allegations is that I appointed the Mabula team. There is evidence to that effect, which served even before Judge Zondo, that Mabula was appointed by General Machele following designation by the Provincial Commissioner of the Northwest Province. There is a part in this affidavit that I wanted to refer to, because I was hearing in testimony here people who deliberately forgot, but I'll find it. What happened, General Mabula, after receiving the tasking, after his preliminary investigations, he approached the DPP, Advocate Muzinyati in Pretoria. to table what he has found from the preliminary investigations. I just want to go there. Yes. It is that which I want to talk to is on page 519, paragraph 8. I mean, 8 at the bottom in General Mabula's affidavit. It says, my first port of call after receiving the security threat assessment briefing was to convene a meeting with the National Prosecuting Authority, the Director of Public Prosecution's Office, for the sole purpose of discussing whether the investigation relating to the threats against General Phahlane may not be construed as interference in IPT investigation. The team met Advocate Nemoarani and Advocate Andrea Johnson, and after relaying the facts of the earlier briefing of crime intelligence, they were unanimous in their decision that the investigation was lawful, and we were given the green light to proceed. Brigadier Ngube and the rest of the team then proceeded with the investigation. The team met with aforementioned advocates of the DPP on several occasions and kept them abreast of the investigations. After perusing the evidence, Advocate Nemoarani and Advocate Johnson advised that a criminal case docket be registered. A case docket was then registered under Kemeldrift case 12/1/2017, impersonating an IPIT official in contravention of the IPIT Act and intimidation against Paul O'Sullivan and Sarah Jane Trent. Advocate Mashura was then appointed by Advocate Nemoarani to oversee the investigation in the offices of the DPP. It is to be noted that the team only functioned on an ad hoc basis, not stationed in Pretoria, Gauteng, as claimed by McBride. Now, this is important. During this committee's honorable members hearings, there is a point where, because I was following these proceedings, Advocate Andrea Johnson was asked about Kemeldrift case 12/1/2017. She played ignorance, yet she is part of the team of prosecutors that were assigned by the DPP to investigate this. We do know that at some point she disappeared from this case. But I also do know that she emerged on the other side in as far as this investigation is concerned. I know even the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Patoi, when asked, she did not know about this particular case. And this is the case that Cedric Nkabinde was saying it is gathering dust there in the NPA. And I think it was Honorable Malema who was asking, why, if O'Sullivan is doing all this, is there no case opened against him? I think at some point it's a crime against the state and so on. If you look at the docket, it's something too serious. There are over 80 emails that hopefully were shared with the members of the committee are part of that particular docket. These section 70 recordings that I'm talking of, conversations with journalists and everyone, including where are you going, them formulating O'Sullivan drafting statements for people or applications for J50 or 205s. It's contained in there. So why that docket is being made to gather dust, I don't know. I know Council wants to talk to...
The case that you are making reference to is the case where Mr. O'Sullivan is alleged to have impersonated as an upto official.
That's the case.
You want to take us through those details?
Yeah. In that docket, Honorable
Yeah.
Chair. Yeah.
I want you to help us, and I don't know who Andile is here. Listen to these details, Andile, because remember last week in our meeting, okay, let me say to you, the committee has written to the respective authorities to request details of these cases. And they responded to us. You might have not seen the response that they sent to us, but if you can just give yourself time and give us the information that you have about those cases.
Thanks, Chair. In this case was informed by this security threat assessment, which was conducted by crime intelligence. And indeed, they did find that there is a threat. So the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence, as I said, then requested detectives who could do the investigation. But she opted not to approach the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng or the Divisional Commissioner detectives, but approached the Provincial Commissioner of the Northwest for reasons known by them, so that, amongst others, they did not want to be told that these people in Pretoria, Gauteng, are privy to what has been happening. Therefore, they wanted a team coming from the Northwest. That's how General Mabula and the team, comprised of about 5 members, was appointed. I think the team was Brigadier Nuwe, Brigadier Khorane, Colonel Reddy, and Lieutenant Colonel Daywood. So they did their investigation. And as I said, as part of the process, they approached the DPP and presented what they have found, their initial findings. That's where Advocate Muzinyati designated Advocate Nemoarani and Andrea Johnson to now lead the team, in other words, from prosecution side. And after they were presented with what they were presented, they had several meetings. I know one meeting, I was told it was at a courtyard hotel, where they were told, that is now the investigation team, that there is enough here that constitute a crime. Because amongst others, when O'Sullivan and them were at my place, they wanted the building plans, but at that time, there was no case opened against me. They wanted the building plans, and I know when they went to the security.
There is a terrible feedback. I don't know if our sound engineers are able to deal with it. Yeah. Or you can also try the next
one
microphone.
Maybe, is it better? Okay. So that's how that case was opened. But when they were at my place in the estate, strangely, they went to the security. And O'Sullivan wanted to know the following. What cars and how many of them are my protectors and me driving? 2, they wanted to know how many are they, what caliber of weapons do they carry? and the times movement. What time do we come? What time do we leave? What time do we
But
return?
when you are still there, how does he find himself in the mix? What was his role?
He's an honorary IPIT member. Kabinde told you here that he's the boss. McBride reports to you.
Who was he with when they came to you?
When they came to my house,
Yeah.
it was Paul O'Sullivan, Sergeant Trent, an IPIT investigator who is currently.
So they were with a recognized IPIT official,
Yes,
but without them being IPIT officials.
yes, they were in O'Sullivan's private car, O'Sullivan being the driver, the passenger being Sergeant Trent on the, we call him a crew in police. So the passenger on the front seat was here, and the two IPIT guys, the late Mandla Mashangu and the one who is now at IDEC, the Manivina, were in that car. So those were the 4 people that were in that car that came to my estate.
So in that, the 5 occupants of the car, 3 of them were recognized government officials.
Only 2, the Manivina and the late Mandla Mashangu. Sergeant Trent works for O'Sullivan, or worked for O'Sullivan, what is it, Forensic for Justice or something like that. They are together, they are private people. He's actually, if I'm not wrong, an advocate
Okay.
who works there.
No, okay.
Sorry,
Can
an
I-
attorney.
Just a moment. Can I check with honorable members if there is any who may want to take a bite? I see Honorable Ngola.
Just a quick one, Chair. To what in the statement is referred to the Paul O'Sullivan and Twaraj. So are you saying one of the then recognized IPIT officials is currently in the employ of IDEC?
It's correct. That's why I support General Mkonazi when he's talking about the rogue unit within IDEC.
Chair,
Manibina is a member currently, as we speak. Of
Chair,
IDEC.
can I move that the committee be finished with the name of the said individual? Thank you.
The witness hears you. What is the name of that
Imani Binang,
the man?
Temane, and the surname is Binang, Binang.
Vinang.
Binang. I think it's Motswana.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Ramano will also capture that for the work of the Justice Committee as well. Thank you.
Honorable Matthys.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is just that whether the builder and the security personnel that were approached by Paul O'Sullivan and Sarah Trent and the crew, will they be agreeable to provide us with affidavits to support what it is that you are saying? They don't necessarily have to appear before us, but to support what it is that you're saying. Thanks.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Matthys, they have already provided affidavits. If you go to, there's an affidavit here of Brigadier Ngube, JKP 27. Maybe I can just be assisted because it's easier. My annexes are marked 484.
But besides someone in SAPS, we're talking about those that were in your property. Do you have any, because I didn't see any supporting affidavits from the security personnel at your complex and also when they were engaging about the building plans?
Yes, Chair, that's what I'm referring to when I'm referring you to JKP 27.
But you said it's Brigadier.
Because,
Okay.
no, if I want to go to a page where the affidavits that they have provided, which are part of the case docket, are there. They are quoted, I think, in the JKP 484, page 484. Ne? There is here witness one, what the witness said, witness two. So I'm simply saying, while they are not named, their affidavits are already in place in that case docket 12/1/2017. There is witness 1, 2, ways, for example, one say here, he deposed an affidavit under oath that members who were all alleged to be from IPIT by one of them produced a business card, not an appointment certificate. Normally, when you are an officer and you are asked for your identification, you can't produce a business card. You must produce an appointment certificate, not your DOMPAS or ID, appointment certificate. 486, 496. Yeah, in page 496 of the affidavit, there it is. And then witness 2, he deposed an affidavit that he met with the persons driving the Ford Kuga at the main gate and escorted them to the offices of witness 1. He was then requested to take them to the house. This is now the security manager, Freki, that we are referring to. Witness 3, he deposed to an affidavit that he stopped at the Ford Kuga at the service delivery entrance and was informed by the driver, Mandla. This is referring to the IPIT official, Mr. Mandla Kaisama, that they were from SAPS and demanded entry into the estate. They did not even say they are from IPIT. This is the person who was the security guard who was manning the boom. 4, he deposed an affidavit confirming that the registration number belongs to O'Sullivan, and even the affidavit of my driver is in here. And by the way, these affidavits are of my driver when he was approached by O'Sullivan were drafted by O'Sullivan and Sarah Jane Trent for him as if they were IPIT members and they were expected to just sign. Nkawinde testified here that O'Sullivan had access to letterheads and they will draft affidavits for them and so on. So just to conclude, the Chair, that
So these are the events of 2016.
these are the events of 2016.
And who was the IPIT head at the time?
McBride.
Okay.
Because this team, as I said, he went back to office after his suspension, the 18th of October 2016. It was on the same day that he took off the people that were tasked with investigating the O'Sullivan, and then immediately the Phahlane task team was established.
Can you say it again?
Sorry, Chair?
Just repeat the statement that you made. You said when he got into office, remember there was this Camille Thrift case that has been registered. And then you say that the people who were investigating it were taken off.
The people who were investigating the allegations made by O'Sullivan in IPIT were then removed by McBride. And then following that removal, that's when he appointed the famous Phahlane task team. Now, if we talk about the Camille Drift case that we were referring to earlier, It's the case docket that was registered by the team of subs detectives
No, it's
led by
No.
General Mabula. Sorry, I just want to hear.
No,
from
you
Council.
you clarified it. Let me check with Honorable Matthews if she's satisfied. Oh, okay. SC. General Phahlane, did you still have a part that you want to talk to?
Yes, Chair.
Yeah. When you are done, you will indicate
I
to,
will indicate.
to the SC so that he can then lead you on the next part.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah.
We'll do so, Chair. For there is a part on 497, which it's maybe worth bringing to the attention of the honorable members. It starts on 496. I'm going to read what the parts of what witness 2 said. He was then also requested to take them to the house and was questioned about the security personnel responsible for the protection of Phahlane. Mr. O'Sullivan questioned the witness about the following security details of the Phahlane, to wit, how many protectors are deployed at the house, whether the protectors are static or mobile, what firearms are they carrying, and how many vehicles are they utilizing. In respect of number 5, witness 5, he deposed to an affidavit that the said Mr. O'Sullivan had a registered firearm on his name, a CZ 9mm pistol with serial number so and so. Now, it may be a question, if it does interest, how will he be issued with a firearm while he has got a criminal record? Secondly, why was his criminal record never recorded on the systems of SAPS? Because there is a criminal case where it's a gender-based violence assault of his wife or something like that, which he paid even, what is it, an admission of guilt or a fine. How will such a case not find itself on the records and the same person has got a licensed firearm?
Honorable Nombal.
No, apologies, General, for interrupting you. So, when do you become aware about this, about the news that these guys are in your complex? At what stage? Were you there? Were you inside the complex?
I was, Honorable Chair, I was not at home. I was in office. And that's why this happens. Remember somewhere I speak about me being in attendance at the strategic session in Limpopo. So I think it was the 14th, it started the 14th of November, 2016.
So when do you become aware? While they were still there, or when you arrived, the security told you that there are guys who were here looking for you?
I only got to know after, because the estate, not the estate manager, the builder called me. And I remember we were doing the launch of a festive season. I was in Komhlanga that day on my way to the strategic session, which was taking place from the 15th. So then the builder calls me and say, there were these people. And he had also called my driver, Alvin Dupree, to say, but there were these people, this is what they were doing. That is he called me in the morning and he called me late. And then the following day he called. That's when I called the estate manager. And the estate manager responded in the manner that is reflected in my affidavit, confirming that yes, they were there. So I knew immediately on the day that they were there, and progressively, as they were there, for example, they would have went to the Sinoville, where the builder of my house, his wife was doing business. They had a crèche.
So the intention was to search your property,
Not at that stage.
not at that stage.
No, they were not searching.
Because
They-
I wanted to establish if maybe the case, I mean, your response was the opposite, if they had a search warrant.
No, on that occasion, I don't know of any search warrant. My understanding was that it was the so-called investigation which they were busy with. That is why even when I text McBride and when I engage him the day that I came back from the strategic session with this meeting that was arranged by
So
CB,
they ended by the gate, they did not proceed to your house.
they went to the house.
They went to the house and there
went
was
to the
no
house.
one inside the
And
house.
pictures of my house were taken.
So the house was locked, there was no one inside.
No, there were people.
Did they get inside?
No, not on that occasion.
Okay,
Not on that occasion. Election.
thank you.
Where is my book?
Honorable Ndalo.
Thank you very much. I think I missed the general a little bit. Who is the person who assaulted the wife and paid a fine of guilt?
Paul O'Sullivan.
Paul O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
But in the records, the criminal record register, there is no criminal record against him.
I happen to be the Divisional Commissioner for Forensic Services. Criminal records are housed in the Criminal Record Center,
Yes.
which I am a custodian at the time. And
Yes.
they never reflected that he had the criminal record.
So did you pick up if whether it was registered and removed or it was never registered at all? You remember the issue of KwaZulu-Natal of Jerome Corners and the other police official giving the nation details about criminal records being removed from the register?
Honorable Member, I only got to know about that criminal case much later. I was already not in the system.
Okay.
And then, like you know, I've stepped aside.
Okay.
And I do not interfere with police records.
They come to your house, they ask you about cars, they take photos of your houses, they ask about your security detail, they ask about the ammunitions they carry, the firearms they carry. Did you not consider that a security breach that needs a serious security assessment by SSA?
Chair, that's why crime intelligence arrived at that conclusion that there is a threat against my life and that of my family. And it is on that basis that the acting divisional commissioner requested investigation capacity. And it is that precisely which General Mabula and his team were investigating. And it is following that investigation that they were arrested. Paul O'Sullivan, Sergeant Trent, Temani Binang, and the late Mandla Mashango. Later, because as the investigation progressed, that's when it became evident that there is a Phahlane task team. And McBride was added on that case, as well as one of the IPIT members, who also, by the way, is currently at, IDEC, Rapesu. He was added.
So this is the second official that is at IDEC?
Yes.
Okay.
So they were added onto that case. Strangely, that case was struck off the roll at a point where McBride was added. And the reasoning behind the adding, the struck off the roll was, don't add people now. Go and obtain what? A racketeering certificate. That's the impression that was created, that there is a racketeering certificate that was what was going to be obtained. And that's where on the council we'll talk later, I know, about Judge Tuchten's judgment. Because that judgment, McBride and them went to court and they were alleging that there is counter-investigation. And that's when General Mabula and his team were removed from the investigation against who? Paul O'Sullivan, McBride, and everyone. And that case stalled because somewhere it was given to a lieutenant general who left. It was given to a major general who is currently an acting divisional commissioner. But that case is never placed back on the roll. That's why I hear from the chairperson whatever they have communicated. But that is the case.
Chair. Thank you very much. That was elaborate.
James, I can see a question on your face.
Yes, because I'm just getting some. General, you mentioned someone from IDAC. What was his surname? I'm just thinking back. I think we questioned Advocate Andrea Johnson on this person, and this person had a matter that was currently being investigated by IDAC, and he was actually given a position despite also having a record. And I think you mentioned the surname now.
Honorable member, the people who are, there is more at IDAC, but the people who are directly involved in this matter, Matthew Sissoko, who's currently, I think he's the head of investigations in IDAC. He used to be the head of investigations at the IPIT. And there is a Rapesu,
Yes.
R-A-P, I can't remember what it's, R-A-P-E-S-H-U or P-E-S-U something, Rapesu. And there is the Manibina
Okay.
that I have
Yes.
spoken to. Those are some of the three. But in terms of those that were involved here, in actual fact, I've, if I can be assisted, there is the affidavit of Cedric Nkabine. Council, have you seen that affidavit? Cedric Nkabine? Sorry. 723. I'm going there because some of the names of the people who are currently who were at IPIT that and part of the Paternitas team are 723. Yes. Chair, when Cedric was disclosing what he disclosed before the committee, I knew about it long ago because he had deposed this affidavit in one of my applications. I was going to interdict the conduct of McBride and O'Sullivan, whatever was happening. I just want somewhere to the document. 727. Open. Yeah. Okay. I think it goes to first it starts on it's 727, page 727, 4.7 and 4.11. In 4.7, Nkabinde say, during the end of 2016 or beginning of 2017, I cannot recall the exact date or month, there was a meeting that took place at Mr. Paul O'Sullivan's house, the former house of well-known Radevan Krecha, whereby Mr. Paul O'Sullivan was chairing this meeting, and amongst other people present were Robert McBride, Mr. Mandla Gaise Mahlangu, Cedric Nkabinde, Sarah Jane Trent, Candice from Crime Intelligence, Mr. Shadrach Sivia, two white males representative, one from AfriForum and one from the DA, while white lady journalist and one black male who was busy preparing fire for the bride. This white lady journalist is Marian Tem. And the one black male who was busy preparing fire for bride is Jacob Nari. Now, Jacob Nari is supposed to be a 204 witness in the Krecha matter that was placed under witness protection in London, state cost, no proper approvals obtained. When he came back, and that's how I know about it, when he came back, the then head of, you call it slush fund, the Secret Services account, approaches me. I'm now the accounting officer, and only the accounting officer signs off on the expenditure if it is on a certain level of the account. So he's saying to me, there is a witness called Jacob Nari who is now returned from London. So he was approached by detectives to fund his stay here so that he can be placed in a safe house. And I refused. Unfortunately, the person was already in the country. I refused because that's not what the Secret Services account is being used for. If that person was a state witness, he was supposed to be funded through the Justice Witness Protection. So I refused. And then I could only approve the stay for a week. The reason why I approved that stay for a week was to say, ask them to follow the process and go and get witness protection funds, which they failed to do. And somewhere we will traverse that area later. O'Sullivan then boasts and say now he has got Jacob Nari in his house. So he is the fireman that was part of this particular meeting. Yes, but then I'm trying to answer Honorable James' question. 411. Okay, 411. The exchange of official information between IPIT and Mr. O'Sullivan continued, and several meetings took place at IPIT offices where Mr. Paul O'Sullivan and his assistant, Ms. Sarah Jane Trent, will come and do presentation to the entire task team of Lieutenant General Phahlane, bank records and cellular phone data. The same representative from AfriForum was always present in these meetings. I can, for instance, recall on my presence at the last meeting I attended to was towards the end of 2017, where Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, Ms. Sarah Jane Trent, and Ms. Teresa Buota presented to us their comparisons of the bank statements and cellular phone data of Lieutenant General Phahlane. The following persons of IPIT were all present during the meeting: Mr. McBride, Mr. Kuba, Ms. Gibson, myself, not me, Mr. Mandla Mahlangu, Mr. Mancha Rapesu. That's the person.
Mancha
Rapesu. Rapesu. Mr. Binang, Mr. Subrimani, Mr. Sias, and Mr. Govender.
Yeah.
The majority of these people.
Stop it there is a Honorable, just put your finger on the paragraph where you were.
Sir, General, you mentioned that in that affidavit, I don't know if you have the details, you said there was a person from AfriForum and somebody from the DA. Am I correct? That is the Democratic Alliance?
You are correct, Honorable Member.
Okay.
But remember, I'm reading from Nkabinde's affidavit.
Okay.
I don't know who those people are. The ones that I know, I will list, like the Marian Tem. I know she was the person in the
Jacob Nat. Okay, so you don't have the names for AfriForum and DA. All
member
right.
and AfriForum's member.
Just to
Thank you.
remind you, the witness had also forgotten, they were described the way they were described, that there was one from AfriForum and one from the DA, but he was not certain about their names. I have it on my notebook record here. Yeah.
Honorable, am I allowed to proceed, Chair?
You know, I want to check if Honorable Sangweni is satisfied.
No, I'm clarified, Chair, and I was being for she says, unfortunately, I missed the full testimony of Mr. Ngabinde. I was not here. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, just
You were still on that part of those
yes.
those
I-
people,
I had,
people who were at the meeting.
Yes. Now I know for a fact. I know Honorable Ngola. Sorry, sir. You were asking me who is in what is it? IDEC. Mr. Governor.
It was
Sia.
Honorable James.
Yeah, but earlier he wanted clarity on Mr. Binang when I was talking to ascertain whether it is the person. Honorable James wanted me to clarify the name. I think it was Rapesu. But all I'm saying is that Governor, Sias, Binang, Rapesu, and Sissoko, who's not here. He's not listed in this paragraph, but he's very integral here, are all currently in IDEC. I don't know this Suprimani, whether he's there or not. I'm not sure.
Honorable Skosana.
I just wanted to find out the names which you mentioned generally. There's Sinal, you said, what's the surname? Sinal or Sunel or
Binang.
Pinang?
Binang. Binang.
Okay.
Binang. Temani is his name.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Let's do like this. Let's break for 15 minutes. We'll come back at 19 hours. I can see that the details that you now present are overwhelming to my members.